Hello again, this is Kirk Smith here with Easy Breezy Home Buyers. Standing in our home in Norfolk, Virginia, where we're doing some rehab work. House is getting close to being finished. But I got a project I'm working on right now I thought you might want to take a look at. Sometimes this can be a challenge for those who might be trying to do a little DIY at home, so I thought while we were doing it I would take a moment just to show you the video. We're installing a four-way, not a three-way, but a four-way switch. I'll show you here in a minute why and where it is and how it goes in. So again, this is Kirk, Easy Breezy Home Buyers. If you have a home you'd like to sell, call us at 757-720-SELL, 720-7355, or you can click on our website, fill out the form there. That link will be in the description below. That's www.easybreezyhomebuyers.com. So let me show you what I got. Alright, this is where we're going to wire our four-way switch. Now a four-way switch means you need more than two switches to turn on a light. Obviously, if you have a light and you want to turn it on from two different positions, say the top and the bottom of the stairs, which is what we have going on here, you would use a three-way switch. That would put a switch at the bottom, a switch at the top. And when you flip either switch, it's going to turn on the light, which is going to be this can light right here. In this situation, though, we needed a third switch. We have a three-way switch right over there next to that bedroom. So when you come out of that bedroom, if you flip that switch, it's going to turn on both lights here in the hallway. And also at the very bottom of the stairs, you can see way down there, there's another switch that is also a three-way switch, so that you turn this light on and off from downstairs so that you're not walking up and down the stairs in the dark. However, we also wanted to put one right here in very close proximity to this bedroom so that this person wouldn't have to walk all the way down the hall to turn on or off the light. They could just simply hit it at the top of the stairs and head down. So as you can see, we're going to have three switches operating both of these lights. These lights are just hooked together. So how does that work? Well, it's really not difficult. Not nearly as difficult as one might think. So what we've got here is this is the carrier wire. Okay, so a carrier wire is a 3-2 wire that runs between three-way switch at the bottom of the stairs and the three-way switch here. So this carrier wire runs between those three-way switches. That's what makes it work. Essentially, it has a white wire, it has a black wire, and it has a red wire. The black and the red wire are what we call carrier wires, and a white wire is typically your hot wire. Or in some cases, the white wire is simply a neutral. There's lots of different ways that three-way switches can be wired, but in every scenario you're going to have a carrier wire going between the three-way switches. And in that carrier wire, generally your black and your red wires are the carrier wires, and your white wire is the traveler. So the white wire just gets, when you're hooking up a four-way switch, just gets twisted together. So you can see in there, we have the white wire just wire netted together. We have a ground wire coming out, which will go to the switch. And then the four-way switch has 4 lugs on it, where a three-way switch would have 3. So essentially, a four-way switch is 2 three-way switches put together. So what would happen is this wire on the bottom is our black wire, and this wire is the red wire, red traveler wire, that is coming in. In other words, this is from the hot source. So if I were to turn on the breaker right now and check this with a hot stick, you'd see that this wire right here is hot. And then this is the same wire that's been cut and brought into this box, since this is the cold side. This is the hot side, this is the cold side. You always want to make sure your 2 hot side wires go together at the bottom of the switch or the top, and then you want to make sure your cold side wires go to the opposite side, in this case the top. As long as you do that, it's real simple. You hook your black to one side and you hook your red to the other side. There are 4 screws on that 4-way outlet, and that is going to allow this to work. What essentially happens is, on a 3-way system, one of these 2 traveler wires is always hot. And these 3-way switches will take the hot source. In this case, the hot source is at the bottom of the stairs. And when you flip the 3-way switch, it will energize either this wire or this wire. And then that goes to the other 3-way switch. And when you energize that 3-way switch, it'll take one of the traveler wires and connect it to a wire that then runs up to the lights. So if the two three-way switches are aligned so that they're both selecting the same wire, you have a completed circuit and you have lights. If that's not the case, if one is flipped to one carrier wire and one is flipped to the other, you have no light. So once you line up those two three-way switches, you'll have a light. So if you flip one or the other, you're always going to line them up or unalign them and turn the light off. All the four-way switch does is either pass these straight through, black to black, red to red, or it crosses them, black to red, red to black. By doing that, it simply takes whatever wire is hot and then moves it over to the other wire, which would also be aligned for hot, and completes the circuit. That's really how these work. And you can run four-way switches, as many as you want. So I could put literally a dozen of these four-ways all along the path, but just keep cutting into this carrier wire and wiring up the same way, and any one of those switches would turn on or off these lights. So it's really, really cool when you need more than one light switch to turn a light on or off. So again, very, very simple wire. The incoming hot carrier wires come in at the bottom. The outgoing carrier wires come in at the top. Black to black on one side, red to red on the other side. Of course, hook up the ground wire, and that is all there is to it. So I'm going to go ahead and make these connections, and then I'll show you what they look like. All right, here's a four-way switch. Take just a moment to show you how this works. So there are 4 screws on the back. 2 of them are black. 2 of them are copper. That's what it looks like in the front. So again, we're going to be bringing in the hot and the red on the bottom, and then the black and the red on the top. The bottom wires are the wires that are energized, the source, and the top wires are the outputs that go to the next three-way switch. So we'll put the black screws to the hot side, to the hot wires, black and red, black on the right, red on the left, and then black on the right, red on the left up here. And the way these switches simply work is when this switch is in one position like it is now, it'll connect this screw to this screw and this screw to this screw, so straight through both sides, just like these wires were wire tied together. When I flip it down the other way, it crosses. So this lug is now connected across to this lug is now crossed to this lug. So that's what makes it work. It'll take whichever wire is energized and whichever one is selected on the other end of the three-way switch circuit, and it will just cross them or push them straight through. So when it toggles between, it's going to essentially do, a three-way switch would be minus this screw. So this screw would either be connected to this terminal or this terminal, depending on how the switch is set. All a four-way switch does is add another terminal, and it does the same thing. It connects either to this one or to this one. So essentially, this is 2 three-way switches put together. So that's how it works. I'm going to make the connection, and I'll show you one more time what we got going on. All right, and here's what it looks like when it's wired. So again, we've got the 2 black wires on this side, the incoming carrier wire at the bottom, and the outgoing carrier wire at the top. We've done the same thing on the other side, only this is the red. So the incoming carrier wire at the bottom and the outgoing carrier wire at the top. Always make sure you don't cross these. Always make sure that you don't take your incoming wire to the top on one side and not the other. Make sure the incoming always come into one side, and the outgoing always go to the top. Incoming really should go to black, outgoing should go to the copper. And that's it. We'll mount that in there, and then we'll fire it up and make sure everything works. But that's how you wire a four-way switch. And again, this carrier wire can be cut in as many places as you want, and these switches can be added, and they all will operate to the light. If this is a little confusing, you can always just Google how to wire a four-way switch. It will show you diagrams that illustrate this in a diagram. I know for some people diagrams are confusing, and it's easier just to see how the finished product looks. And so that's why I wanted to do this. But again, take a look at a four-way switch wiring diagram. If you Google that, you'll see that. If this is still a little confusing, and I think it'll make more sense.